Hello, hello, hello. David from Alouette Organic Farm. The other guy, although now I have to say I'm the peach guy. I'm the peach guy now. Behind me, I have now got 2 of the 3 varieties that I'm putting into these rows over here. So I've got my Orion to my right, and then Early Grande is to my left. Depending which side of the camera, I don't know. But anyway, I'll just show you. So here we go. Here's the Orions. They're early season. They're going to be done in October, ready for harvest in the beginning of October. These are the Early Grandes. They're going to be straight after the Orions. And then these 2 lines, I'm still waiting on the peaches from another nursery or grower. And these are going to be the Swellengrebels. All 3 are dessert peaches. All 3 are dessert peaches, and they're absolutely stunners. The Swellengrebels are big boy, gorgeous, fleshy, and really, really sweet. All of these dessert peaches are just absolutely stunning, but the Swellengrebel by far. The Orions, it's not to say, it's not to smash the Orions or Early Grandes. I can promise you they are gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. And the way we do it organically is exactly why you just get that flavor profile. It's all in the ground, all in everything that you do. Looking for these matches. So yeah, here's the jack pack. They're mucking about. Poo being the loner. So you'll see what I've done. Let me explain. Okay, these are all bare roots. These haven't come in potted bags or anything like that, grain bags. So they're all bare roots. So the grower, whoever does this, grows a whole bunch of these, and then around winter time, when peach trees go dormant, which they are now, they're asleep, they have no idea that they've just been translocated. So these were the south of Joburg, from what I hear. Somewhere in the south of Joburg, they could be anywhere between Joburg and Cape Town. But yeah, so they dig it out down in the winters, just while they're asleep, while they're dormant. So there's no real shock to the tree itself. They come with a whole bunch of roots, bare roots, hence the name, and they're kept moist until I get them into the ground. Normally you've got about a week to be able to get them into the ground. So which obviously I got them yesterday, and I got them all in the ground. See, it was a smart move digging the holes well in advance, because I was only supposed to get what I presume all these varieties in at the end of July, beginning of August. Poo out of there. Hey, come out. So anyway, good thing the holes were dug, right? So any case, so bare roots went in there, no compost. Okay, so a lot of people think you got to put compost in with pretty much everything. You run the risk. It's not to say you can't, but you run the risk. What it creates with the bare roots, it creates let's put it this way, it's like it's like a teenager still at home, right? And mum and dad treat him all too well. He's got an easy life, a soft life. He's not going to leave the home anytime soon, is he? So the bare roots are the same. You gooi down, there's my South African coming out. You put in compost, you create such a beautiful environment for those roots, and what it does is it just makes the roots lazy, so they don't go out searching, don't go out spreading. The whole idea of roots is to plant the tree down, stabilize the tree, and have quite an expanse of a root system, just so that it's got more chance of finding nutrients and moisture. So by not putting compost in there and just throwing back in the native soil that I dug right out, there's nutrients in there, and there's a little bit of moisture, and of course I've given them a deep drench after planting them. But they have to go looking when they wake up. When they wake up, they're gonna be like, holy fuck, where the hell are we? That's when the shock kicks in. That's when it's the nerves start piling on my side to make sure that I haven't done anything wrong. So yeah, anyway, so you backfill with the native soil. And then I've put compost on the top. So rather inside, I put it on the top so the compost leaches down. So it's a slow process while the roots are still trying to expand and, find their way around. it was actually quite convenient. Okay, so before I get into that, I also put on the mulch, which I don't only on pine bark or anything like that. I've got needles over here, pine needles. I've got pine trees up in the mountains. So use what you got. It's the whole point about this organic process is the sustainability of the land that you're on, the recycling of the bits and pieces that you're on. It's too easy just to go buy things. I know, that's the Western world for you. Just go buy. No innovation, no creativity, no intuition. So in any case, here we go. I've got myself 3 pine needles from the mountains and I've chucked it on there. Now some people will turn around and say, "I'll make your soil acidic." That's bollocks. It's absolute bollocks. It's acidic when it's on the trees, when they're green. Okay, when they get down onto the ground and they've been sat there for months, years, whatever it may be, it becomes broken down by microbes. So the acidity profile of pine needles is absolutely diminished. So it will not make my soil any more acidic than what it is. It is slightly acidic, which is fine. We're on the Magaliesberg. It's a quartzite, old, I don't know, volcanic mountain. Turn that around. I live a very healthy lifestyle, except this. I need this. This is my crutch. Yeah, so the soil is already acidic just purely because of the quartzite. This is what the Magaliesberg is predominantly made of. So anyway, so I got my mulch. I've got my compost on top. I've got my mulch on top of that, and all of that is just to retain the moisture. I want the mulch to retain the moisture because we get baked out here on the northern slopes of the mountain here. So I don't want my soil drying out too quick. I don't want my roots not having water or some form of moisture. So I want my roots to work, but I don't want them to dehydrate and say, right, that's it, we're done. We don't like where we've woken up to. So yeah. Another interesting thing about the roots was I was kind of lucky because the roots were, as an axis, it was 12 and 6. All right, so that was perfect for me. So the way I positioned the roots, let me just twist around. So this whole area, obviously, I ripped with the tractor, with a ripper. All right, so and I've turned the soil over probably about half a meter deep. So it's all beautiful down there. It's all the way through. It's uniform all the way through. But then obviously here's the great divide. Here's compacted ground, and here's the broken ground, and that's 50 centimeters deep. Now, because the roots had that 12 to 6 kind of structure to them, I had them placed. So one set of roots over there, going in that direction, one set of roots going in that direction. Why did I do that? I want my roots to be able to actually hunt for moisture, to hunt for nutrients. Now if I had it the other way, so if, say for instance it was going that way and this way, it would have just gone straight into compacted soil, hitting a wall. Kind of like your roots, your pot plants. They become root bound, they go around in a circle and a circle and a circle. I don't want that. I want my roots to go exploring, and not just only that, because of course this is all soft, so it's going to be easier for the roots to just make their way through here. But what I really, from a scientific point of view, you're going to thank AI on this one. So you see there's one tree there, there's one tree there. Now the typical standard for I don't know, if you're not looking for a high density crop, which I am, it's normally the spacing is about 4 to 5 meters. The old trees there in the background where they've got the old warning tape on, it's for the birds, they're 4 to 5 meters. These are 3 meters. And the reason why I've done that, and all the research I've been doing, is that when the roots start growing down in this direction, which is what they're going to do because it's the path of least resistance and they're pointing in that direction, the way I've orientated them in the ground. So what they're going to do, this tree's going to grow his roots down this side, this root's going to grow his roots down this side. Guess what? They're going to meet. It's when they meet, that's when the magic happens. That's really when the magic happens. Because what happens then, what happens then is that the trees are roots are very sensitive things. Gosh, I was researching the science of how roots actually work the other day. I'm not going to go into that, but it's really interesting. So yeah, when the two neighboring trees' roots touch, that's almost like, you know, two neighbors who hadn't put a wall up, and you know, and they're getting up to fun, but now all of a sudden they're just kind of overlapping with each other's fun. All right, now we got to put a wall down there. That's it. You know, this is our area, and this is what we're going to focus on, and that's what the roots are going to do. As soon as the roots touch the other neighboring trees' roots, you know, it's going to have that response, and that response is hormonal. And so what that's going to do is it's going to stop the tree. I mean, it's going to take time for the roots to eventually touch, but and by that point the trees would have grown, you know, significantly. But because I'm going for a high density crop, 3 meters between trees in row, and I'm trying to manage my harvesting height. I don't want these trees to be massively high. I don't want to be climbing ladders for every tree. The pruning that would come along with it. I mean, right now I'm doing that. There in the distance, having to use a ladder. I don't want to do that. It's cumbersome. It takes time. So that's why I went for the high density crop. You know, so where was I going with that? All right, so yeah, so it's when the roots touch, eventually that's going to set off hormonal responses. Gibberellin, I think it's called gibberellin or something like that. And that's a response to the tree to say, all right, we're going to stop vegetative growth, making branches and going higher and wider, actually let's start focusing on producing fruit. So there's that transition change. So if the trees were 4 or 5 meters apart, it would take maybe an extra year or two for them to eventually meet. By that point, the trees are still growing higher and higher and wider. And then eventually they'll touch, and then eventually the branching will stop and slow. And of course we need branches, but you know, I'm going for a high density, you know, crop over your orchard. And so that's what I learned. That's what I thought, well, that makes more sense for me. I can get more peaches into the area that I've got. It's going to be more manageable, because I promise you, everything about farming is about making your task less cumbersome, more efficient. And you know, when it comes to harvesting, I mean, it's like some of these avocado trees. You know, okay, well, it doesn't matter. But some of these avocado trees are so high. Look at that one right there, right in the middle of the screen. I mean, that's high. I mean, there's still avos at the top of that tree because I can't get to them. And that's the problem, because of course, you know, the farm was neglected for 10 to 15 years. It was dilapidated, overgrown. And some of the avocado trees just shot straight up, and it's made it hard for harvesting. I can promise you, it takes time. And when you've got so many things to do on the farm, time is of essence. There's no time for mucking about. Anyway, and that's why I'm trying to do with the peaches. I'm trying to manage the height. Of course, during summer, I'm going to have to do some summer pruning, and that's fine. It's not going to be for now. Not as serious now, not next year, but the following year, the third year, going into the third year, that's when I'm going to have to start keeping on top of the peach trees, because they will be touching. Their canopies will be touching. They're obviously all going to be vase shaped, so you need an open center for peaches. They need maximum sunlight to increase what they call bricks. I think it's called bricks, which is your measurement of sweetness, and that's all to do with the sun. So you want an open canopy. And so essentially what will be happening, get to 3 years of age, the roots would have been touching under the ground, and then this tree will be up here somewhere, this tree will be up here somewhere, and the edges of their tree will be touching somewhere in the middle. And that's what I just got to control. I got to control that and any sudden water shoots or vertical growth. And that is it. And then I got a really, really dense orchard of peaches. That gives me full yield in 3 years rather than 6 years, because remember, at 6 years, you know, that's how long it's going to take 4 to 5 meter spaced trees for their roots to touch, to eventually say, all right, this is where we draw the line, this is our boundary. Now we've done we've done expanding our roots to expand our tree size. Now we gotta, well, this is the limits, this is our carrying capacity. Now we gotta do fruit. So that's the difference. Full yield, 3 years, and then like the older trees there, 4 to 5 years. I mean 4 to 5 meters, you wait in 6 years for full yield. And what's farming about? Maximizing your yield. That's it. That's my peaches. I'm super proud of my hubs for supporting my farm. I thank you very much. Me and the jackpack. Where are they? There they are. Let me turn it around. Hey, Zulu, Tsotsina, Tsots, and Pupu. We all thank you very much. You know, this is going to be an onward journey. Be a part of it. Like, subscribe, comment below. Join the journey. This is a regenerative project, and I want to do it with nature, not against it. I want to do it with my communities, not against them. I want them to be a part of this. I one day want to have a beautiful little organic pizza restaurant on this farm where people can have picnics under the avo trees, the peach trees, the lychee trees, the mango trees. I want it to be family oriented. I want my community to see what can be done when you reconnect with nature. That's what I did, and I'm going to continue staying connected with nature. I went for far too long on my own thinking I could just do the rat race, do the chasing, wear the mask, do the facades. Screw that shit. That shit kills you. You think you're happy, ask yourself, really are you? Can't do that. So I am happy. I have a beautiful farm. I am putting back into it. I am going to reap the rewards of it later down the road. I get to spend it with my best friends every single day. I get to eat good food. Yes, I know I smoke. But I'm happy, happy. And so for those who support, I love you guys to bits. I'm going to try and keep looking after your families as best as I can. I'm going to keep adding to this farm. And one day, I want to say to everyone, come and visit Alouette Organic Farm. Come and meet the jackpack. Anyway, I am going to go and do some pruning. I'm going to just do that one last tree. The last bit I can't get to the top by just standing on the ground. So I'm going to go and do that. I'll leave the rest for tomorrow because I want to spend time with my doggos. Hey, Tsots, come here, come say goodbye to everyone. Like, subscribe and comment below, guys. Thank you.